Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So let's go to Defense One. You got to get that military technology in there as well. It says, can the U.S. military reinvent the microchip for the AI era? This is interesting where this goes, because the AI revolution faces a real big hurdle, according to Patrick Tucker. Says today's microchips, it's one thing to get a bunch of transistors on an integrated circuit to crunch numbers, even very large ones, but what the brain does is more difficult. Processing vast amount of visual data for use by a huge multicellular organism is very different from the narrow calculations of a conventional math. The algorithms that will drive tomorrow's autonomous cars, planes, and programs will be incredibly data intensive, with a need well beyond what conventional chips were ever designed for. This is one reason why the hype surrounds quantum computing and neurosynaptic chips. The challenge has a sister predicament: the end of Moore's Law. The integrated chip or circuit revolution that gave birth to the modern computer, smartphone, and basically all of Silicon Valley is in its twilight. In the 1960s, Gordon Moore observed that the number of transistors per square inch on integrated circuits was doubling roughly 18 months. So every 18 months, that number would double. Now, that won't be true after 2020, according to Robert Caldwell, formerly of DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. And that poses a big problem for the Defense Department. In 2014, Defense One asked DARPA Director Arate Prabhakar about it, and this is what she said. Quote, "There's a $300 billion a year global semiconductor industry that cares deeply about that answer to what comes next," she said. Apple, for example, is said to be working on a processor devoted specifically to AI-related tasks. But DARPA has money in the game as well. The magic of the integrated circuit, the reason why it's been so hard to replace, is that it was a computational unit that you could use to do the broadest possible class of problems, she said. The way forward will be building chips for specific purposes. Quote, "If you're willing to work on specialized classes of problems, you can actually get a lot more out of a specialized architecture," she said. "Specialized architectures will give us many more steps forward. Bottom line, there's no silver bullet replacement for the integrated circuit on the horizon, but you could achieve something Moore's Law like by creating chips that could crunch lots of specific types of data. Some of these already exist. They're called application-specific integrated circuit chips, or ASICs. Now, on Wednesday, DARPA announced several new generation chips design initiatives meant to build off that approach. One software-defined hardware seeks a, quote, hardware-software system that allows data-intensive algorithms to run at near ASIC efficiency without the cost, development time, or single application limitations associated with ASIC development. And a second program called Domain-Specific System on a Chip takes a dual approach, letting architects mix and match general purpose and special purpose and hardware accelerator coprocessors, as well as memory and input-output elements, into easily programmed systems on a chip for applications within specific technology domains. Now, in many ways, the premise of the program comes again from Moore's 1965 paper. And in this case, it's his observation that eventually the matching and tracking of similar components in integrated structures will allow the design of differential amplifiers of greatly improved importance. The two programs join several others in the Electronics Resurgence Initiative, a $216 million effort to create chip designs for 2030 to 2050. Now, we know that there's already been chips developed, specifically D-Wave and their qubit, their quantum computers, are already using AI. You need look no further than the monopoly called Google, who has a D-Wave and employs a very sophisticated AI, not just for their search engine, but also for the censorship over on YouTube. And that, of course, is designed to snuff out anyone or any organization that questions the official narrative of anything. We just saw recently a think tank where people quit en masse because of the sway Google had over it, because they were the number one funding stream of this think tank. And so there's now talk, because they've pissed off the people in there, and a lot of them were attorneys, that they're going to sue Google and start state antitrust cases against Google because of the power that they wield in a monopolistic sort of way. I mean, think about it. There is no competition, no real competition to Google or YouTube. I mean, you've got other video platforms, but none that's been around or is as sophisticated as YouTube is and as Google is. And they know this. And anytime anybody gets close, they snuff them out. So I'm hoping that we can knock these monopolies for a loop, these Facebooks, these Googles, these Twitters, and alleviate a lot of the censorship and the nanny state censorship tactics that are going on that have limited the ability of independent media to be able to get you the truth 24/7. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.